Hey! Greetings and salutations. I had, and it was pretty darn cold yesterday, like a 20-minute debate in the parking lot with a guy that works at the local grocery store. Asked him about one of his companions inside. I've seen him many times over the years. This is a red-headed guy, and I keep getting asked about free will in comments, also too in a live stream a lot, and it's one of the fundamental things. There's like 5 primary things that people don't understand or are completely confused about. One of them, they keep using the word meditation, and by the way, I wrote an article on that, and that actually doesn't define anything specific because everybody's talking past each other. Every person on this earth has their own idea what the definition of that word is. I've proven that like a million times. Another one is free will. The other one, of course, is the soul, and then reincarnation, and then karma, or kama in Pali. There's like 5 or 10 things that people are fundamentally extremely confused about. Most of this, of course, nobody grew up learning metaphysics or really ever thinking about things. Specifically, free will, or liberum arbitrium, as it is called in Latin. Christians actually debated this. It became a thing around the 4th century CE, and the question is, well, do human beings have free will? Yeah. Well, my answer to that question is, one of the questions that keeps getting asked is, what happens when we die? And my answer to that question is a perfect answer, which is another question. So what makes you think you are that which dies? Which, of course, you are not. That thing you see in the mirror. But what is potential is absolutely not actual. But I like to get to the person in the parking lot. This is really important now because my 2 friends were literally killed. I shouldn't use the word killed. I should use the M-U-R-D-E-R word by the hospital. But if they had free will and absence of ignorance, they'd still be alive today. Of course, their families took that over. I had no idea. They were being given a substance that would end their lives, so both of my best friends were offed by the hospital. But we're talking about deterministic binaries, which most people think is how human beings are dictated. I'm going to make choice A or choice B. You have binaries, but then the question becomes, well, what about all sorts of other things? Actually, the movie Matrix brought this up, and that everything's a binary choice. You're going to choose A or choose B. Well, those are actions, and they're dictated and, of course, preyed upon by evil people. What about non-action? What about non-involvement? Choice is not binary, or multiple choices, and that is still binary. It's like, well, choice A is 0, choice B is 1, choice C is 0, 1. So you could have multiple choices. It still is binary. Make a movie reference because then people really get it, as the War Games movie, and the computer finally realizes that the best thing is to not play the game at all in the case of tic-tac-toe, because it's completely pointless, and if you have enough wisdom you realize it's a pointless game. And so same thing with mutually assured destruction. It's like, well, the best play is not any binary, it is to not even engage in it. And this is not referenceable, and it cannot be deterministic by any computer algorithm at all. And the Matrix actually brought this up because everybody's seen the Matrix movies. But free will is only potential, not actual. It is extremely, more than it ever has been since maybe World War II, that people have a certain degree of free will, because your lack of free will is just like my friends that were offed by the hospital. Your lack of free will is extremely dangerous for not only yourself but also to your family members and all the people that you actually care about. But yes, ignorance, of course, is preyed upon by evil doers to cause predetermined binary outcomes that, of course, they want. But those without ignorance can't be preyed upon. I mean, they could be preyed upon physically, pounce. You can step outside of your house and they could pounce out from behind the bushes and do you in, but that's a different type of being preyed upon. And then, of course, there's a different course of action to take care of that, which I used to train and teach for as a former concealed carry instructor for the Department of Criminal Justice Training Division. But I had a debate, and I'd like to go over the debate in very short and actually get to the heart of it, because it's actually really important to this unintelligent guy. And I'm seeing him as a redheaded guy. He's probably like 28 years old, I think. You know, and I'm not putting him down for not, you know, having a sharp mind. But I was talking about his buddy inside. It's like a young, healthy guy wearing a face diaper and a shield. Very young, very healthy. And do I give a single hoot in hell? I was actually joking with the guy. So what do you think about your buddy in there? And of course I named him. I'm not going to say the name. And so, you know, he's young and healthy. Of course I'm, you know, fat and out of shape and, you know, relatively healthy, but obviously not young and healthy, right? Which is blatantly obvious. So what do you think about that? And because I talked to him a couple times before, over the years, and I knew I would kind of get a non-intelligent answer out of him, but I always like to probe people. Not that I, you know, want to have a fight, because the real debate is not a fight. And this is what he said. He started going on. He said, "I bet you don't know who Klaus Schwab is." Like, yeah, I know who he is. I read his book, The Great Reset. And he said, well, billionaires own everything, like that guy, and the World Economic Forum over there is going on, and all sorts. He mentioned Gates and other people and all these billionaires that influence, which of course they do. All of that is demonstrably accurate. I don't know if old Q-Tip, which is what I'm calling Schwab, has ever been to the United States. He might have, and I was listening to him for a second. And we're standing outside with my shopping cart full of groceries, listening to him, and I love a good debate. He certainly wasn't going to match wits with me, but he didn't know that. But I like to see, you know, how people's intellectual mechanics work. And I said, yeah, I said, Klaus Schwab, him, and they own everything, and they influence everything, and there's no real choice. So like, oh, here we go. And so I said, you're telling me, you know, the guy in there, and there's many like him, and they're all over the place. And I don't give a, you know, a single hoot in hell what people wear or do with their body or, you know, anything. Because, you know, I'm fat and out of shape, obviously. But that guy is super young, super healthy. You know, he's blatantly obvious. There are many, many, many people like that. I said, so what you're telling me is this guy, when he wakes up in the morning and he sticks on his face diaper and is literally his face shield, young, very healthy guy, probably looks like he's 19, super healthy, super fit, is because of old Q-Tip, old cow, you will eat the bugs. Yeah, you will own nothing and be happy. He thought I didn't know who that was. Like, I know exactly who that is. Have you ever read his book? No. Like, well, I know who he is more than you do. And his answer to me was, yes. I said, that's when that guy gets up in the morning and he sticks on his face diaper and a shield and he clocks into work, that it's because of, you know, mega evil millionaire and billionaire in Europe and all these evil entities. I'm not going to name any of them because you know who they are. We all know who they are. And he said, yes. I said, no, these people are in Europe. You know, I know the garbage that they put out and the brainwashing and the propaganda. But I said that guy, just like many like him, are slaves to his own ignorance. That Q-Tip guy in Europe, the billionaire, the guy that looks like, you know, hair evil, you know, you will eat the bugs. So that guy's in Europe. He doesn't control that guy working in the grocery store to, you know, be afraid of his own. You get to look at somebody, you know, very, very healthy physically, but mentally unhealthy. The guy's afraid of his own shadow. He's scared to death. He's been digesting easily a steady stream of propaganda from places on the internet and or, you know, various news channels. That guy and the other evil billionaires across, they don't control that person. They don't at all. But his argument was, yes, they do. And, you know, it had me think, and I've thought endlessly about free will over the years, and of course this idea of binary, deterministic outcomes, and which of course is what these... Oh, did you know that another evil person, the guy that looks like Emperor Palpatine with his face melting, you know who I'm talking about? Did you know he was buying a huge fact-checking firm? Isn't that interesting? I find that very, very interesting. Yeah, this is, of course, a way to propagandize and to make deterministic outcomes for people, but to make them feel like they've made an intelligent, autonomous choice. Like, no, they haven't. That's actually the most insidious thing ever, is when you actually stick out all this propaganda and this fact-checking rigmarole, let's just call it that, that people feel like, well, I've absorbed some of the facts and I'm going to make a choice. You haven't made a choice at all. Because of your ignorance, you have been, like a horse with blinders on, been dropped into a deterministic outcome, which is exactly what they want. So the parking lot guy was literally out in the parking lot for basically half an hour having a debate with this guy. I said, no, I said, when that guy leaves his house, he's not being controlled by, Captain Evil Billionaire in Europe, Mr. Evil, when he decides to be afraid of his own shadow and be a spineless D-bag. The guy's super young, super healthy, super fit, muscles, very glaring muscles bulging up underneath his shirt there. I wasn't specifically referring to him, but I mean there's countless ones like that. I was trying to engage him in a conversation. His idea that, yes, he's under the thumb of old hair billionaire and people like him. It's like, no, it's not. No, it's not. There's a neat little skit from this woman that's hard of hearing. It's from Faulty Towers, and she's very headstrong, and she does her own thinking, and she's not going to be told. And her little answer to ignorant little people that tell her what to do or what to think is she would say, "You silly little man." I love British comedy. It's from Faulty Towers. Kind of hard of hearing, and she'll turn up her hearing aid and she'll listen to what the fool will say. You silly little man. More people need to be like that. So getting back to the question of free will, nobody has free will until they do have free will. That kind of sounds strange or bizarre superficially, but what is potential is not actual. Genetically, an acorn is absolutely identical in its DNA to the oak tree, but I'm pretty sure you can't get any board feet of lumber out of an acorn. What is potential is not actual. No human being has free will. Most human beings are reactive. The greatest illusion played upon you or me or anybody, not upon me, is once again this idea that you've made your own choice, but you've not. You've had psychological tricks and propaganda and lies played upon you such that you've been dropped with extremely high probability tasking through knowing human psychology and other factors to make a choice. You thought you made that choice of your own free will, but you're fed lies, propaganda, nonsense because your mind was open due to ignorance, due to lack of free will. So no, nobody has free will. Wisdom is self-actualization, self-proximity. This is making oneself non-porous to infiltration. And of course, the self-actualization is freedom from mental tyranny from others. I've really encountered this a lot where most people feel like they need to take orders from entities. And the answer is no, you don't. Like, I'm not breaking a law. I live a clean life. You are not going to tell me what to do. I will not comply. No, you could kiss it where the shadow exists permanently. I'll let you translate that one. No, I am not. Everybody should have a mind like a steel trap. My two friends, due to the porosity of their mind, and I didn't know this was going on, their family took care of them. They were offed by the hospital because they were taught, well, this person's a doctor, this person's a nurse, and they're injecting this neat juice into my veins, which causes me to stop breathing, and then I do a free fall to a body bag in the basement, in the freezer. And that mental porosity, i.e. lack of free will, leads to deterministic outcomes from evil doers. This world is so sick and so full of evil, it's beyond the pale. People that have kind of been living a simple life, relatively, have no idea how evil people can be. But people that have their eyes even partially awake these past few years can see the incredible tyranny, evil, sickness, and let's just call it demonic filth from people trying to prey upon your deterministic outcomes. Goebbels said, at the Nuremberg trials. I can't remember his exact words, but it went something to the effects like, how did you get the Germans to go along with this? How did you do it? And he said it was easy, fear. It doesn't have to be a fascistic system. It could be socialism, democracy. All you have to do is instill fear in people. It's been proven that human beings, when they're in fear, will make irrational, unwise, and decisions that are devoid of free will, i.e. porosity of mind, such that they'll be led around like with blinders on like a horse and forced to do things against their will. And the only reason they can be forced to do things against their will is due to a porosity of mind. Porosity of mind means that you can easily be forced and coerced into doing these things. Kind of like that super young, healthy guy. He just won a million. I'm not picking on that one guy. He's just, there's a gazillion like him. You've seen him. I've seen him. Living in fear. He's young, healthy, in great physical shape. Afraid of his own shadow. Spineless coward. Yeah. Face diaper and face shield. You know, I just look at the guy like, anybody could look at me and go, yeah, that guy's fat and unhealthy. And that is true. That is a different matter, you know. I get pinned behind the computer, and but it's my own fault. I know that, and I made that choice, and I know I made that choice. But I'm not going to be dictated to by others into making irrational decisions and having porosity of mind such that you are forced against your will. But people don't think they're acting against their will. They think they're making free choices, and they're not. And this forced coercion against, why are you listening to, a billionaire demonic fool in Europe feeding you lies and propaganda through whichever media portal device that you have, be it your computer, the TV. What does someone say about a TV? He said a TV lets people into your house you would never let through the front door. Isn't that brilliant? There is a huge danger upon everybody on this earth, and unless you make your mind like a steel trap, lacking in porosity, to be infiltrated by those that want to feed it, such that they want you to make deterministic outcomes that benefit them and all their evil, nefarious means and motives. And it's more blatant now than ever. I mean, it's always been there, right underneath the surface. Things are actually not getting worse. Things are getting more obvious. Let me repeat that again, because that's something you should really remember, especially today. Things are not getting way worse. They're just getting way more obvious. Truer words have never been said. You need to make your mind like a free trap. Nobody has free will. Free will is potential, not actual. Most beings, like an animal, I'm not saying anybody should kick a dog. When I'm saying if you kick a dog, it's not even going to have a thought. It's going to turn around and gnaw your leg off, right? Rawr, rawr, rawr. Completely reactive. Most human beings are completely reactive, like animals, unfortunately. They have no free will. So I always roll my eyes when some human beings have free will. It's like, well, if they have free will, they do, but otherwise they don't. Free will is potential, not actual. You could sit there with a handful of acorns all day long, but until you plant them in the ground and nurture them and water them, you're never going to get any freaking lumber out of them, are you? What is potential must be cultivated to actuality. Porosity of mind is never a good thing. It is not. Ignorance will always ripen on you like fungus, and it will wreck you. These are the happiest people in life. They just go around la-di-da-di-da, they're just completely oblivious, leading a simple life, but ignorance always grows, and it will always wreck you. Some people are able to escape it and still lead an entirely ignorant life, and ultimately, of course, old age and death takes them. But free will does not exist in human beings unless it is actualized. There's a difference between a proactive mind and a reactive mind. A reactive mind has complete and total porosity, like a sponge. Yeah. You could teach a dog to do evil things, or you could teach it to be, a great guard dog and all this other stuff. Total porosity, pure potential. But that potential has to be cultivated to fruition, hopefully not towards evil and nefarious means. If everybody on earth had a mind like a steel trap with extremely low porosity, none of these evil tyrants, these billionaires and, these idiots that want to, wreck the world and turn it upside down and, bring down global population by like 70% or whatever the hell it is that we know that they're doing. It's like, no, I'm not going to comply with you. No, you can kiss it where the sun doesn't shine. Oh, no. No, you're a fool. I'm wise. I am not, my mind is not penetrable by your lies, propaganda, fear-mongering, ignorances, etc., etc., etc. It's not open to that. It's not. People should be far less afraid of evildoers that want to, cast their spell on other minds than they should be about all the brainless fools running out in the world. Those are the people that are the danger. A handful of evil people, if everybody were wise or mostly wise, just sufficiently wise, let's put it that way. It's like, no, yeah, you're evil. No, I'm never going to do that. No, I'm going to lead my life. Because life is short, take care of self and family, kids and dog, and in that order, kind of. No, and you could take a running jump into a lake of fire. No, I'm not going to listen to you. No, I will not comply. You want me to do what? No, I will not. Also, too, something people need to realize, no matter where you live in the world, the government, I'm going to say government, is about that big. Yeah. The people are like this. The evil tyrants are like that. So tell me why the people, which is this, are afraid of a bunch of, demonic evildoers like this. Yeah, you get this versus this. You have these people afraid of these people. Tell me how that works. How that works is high porosity of mind, lack of free will, a reactive mind, an animalistic mind. Oh, I need to be afraid. I'm going to do this. My two buddies are 6 feet under. I hate to say this, because I didn't know it happened or I would have intervened. I definitely would have intervened. My two buddies are 6 feet under because of porosity of mind. Oh, that guy's a doctor. He knows what's best for me. Oh, did you know the hospital's getting paid? If you do this, they get paid. If that happens, they get paid. That used to be called conspiratorial. And it has since been proven and vindicated and acknowledged by many, many. Yes, that's exactly what's happening. Well, that guy's a doctor. He knows what's best for me. Well, you mean the same people are the second leading cause of death after cancer? Iatrogenic death means the doctor killed you? The second leading cause of death after cancer. Really, I think it's first, actually. A lot of people that die of cancer never would have died of cancer. A brilliant statement said by my buddy, it said to have far fewer people die of cancer is to diagnose far fewer people with cancer. It sounds superficially stupid, but what it means is that these people who were diagnosed with cancer, they were fed poison. I don't care what people do. It's none of my business how people get treated. Fed various poisons and chemicals to kill the cancer, but of course it killed the kid. Well, you killed the cancer. It's like, yeah, doctor, but you also killed the patient. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah, we killed the cancer. It's like, yeah, but you're too invasive. You forgot your Hippocratic oath, which I hear doctors don't take anymore. First, do no harm. It's like, in order to kill the cancer, we had to kill the patient. By God, though, that cancer is ended. Yeah, but you killed the patient in the process. Yeah. It is important for people to develop a free will. And it's incredibly important. But free will is only potential. It is not actual. Neither can you get, once again, lumber out of an acorn, even though it's genetically identical to an oak tree. What is potential is not actual. I know I said that many times, but people need to remember that in their lives because it's incredibly important. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you have a lovely week. Lux Veritas.